when PM gave a ministerial statement last week about the tariffs, even the opposition or the key opposition were quick to come out and say, yes, I think the approach that the Singapore government is taking is correct. However, quite quickly after that, some other parties or some other political opponents started to have a narrative that this is fear-mongering. That narrative is still kind of out there. What would you say to people who are still listening to these opposing views?
As regards the suggestion that this is fear-mongering, I think rather than we giving it descriptors, we just have to look at what world leaders are saying.
Right.
The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that this is, and I quote, the end of the world as we know it. I mean, you just think about it, the end of the world as we know it. The Japanese Prime Minister, the third largest economy in the world, said this is a national crisis. The German Chancellor-elect, Mr. Merz, said this is a very urgent situation. IMF chief says that this is a significant risk to the world economy. Serious economists say that there is a 6 in 10 chance that the US could enter into a recession.
Right.
And you look at the markets, after the Liberation Day announcement, the markets lost $6.6 trillion. And they've recovered some now. But I'm not sure we should say that taking this seriously is fear-mongering. I think you should leave politics out of this. Just look at it with a very clear, cold reality. It is a very uncertain, mixed picture with very significant consequences. In fact, as Sam Lee said, one of the key problems is the way the US is now approaching it. Previously, the flat trading system, where everybody traded with each other, is now going to be replaced by the United States of America will deal with each one of you separately and individually. So we will no longer be able to rely on a global supply chain and be fit into that supply chain automatically. We'll have to see what deal we get with the Americans, and vis-a-vis the Americans, everyone is in a weaker position, one-on-one. And how do we then try and make some kind of supply chain work? It's going to be complex. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. So that environment has changed. And that is the environment that we managed to, work in for our prosperity. And we did extremely well. So now we have to figure out. But as PM says, what do you do? I mean, you don't sit back and fear. PM says never fear. Things will change. Things will turn worse outside. You are a price taker. You deal with it. And we put our minds to it, we work on it, we can deal with it.
We're sitting here the day after the writ of the election has been announced. And obviously we're going to start a new term in a very volatile world. I mean, has the government kind of gamed out, actually, if Singaporeans don't get behind the government's approach, what could be a worst case scenario versus if they did, what could the government do to make things better?
The government works on the basis, we work on long-term plans. Both mid-term and long-term, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We look at our aging population. You need to have a long-term plan, what your housing board flats are going to look like, how are you going to structure medical services, hospitals, infrastructure. These are all 20, 30 years. And when we talk about coastal protection, we are even talking about even longer.
2070, right?
So I don't think we say, what do we do? You continue to review. You look at Singapore's trajectory. You look at the international situation. You look at what creates jobs, investment flows, better the skills of our people, education. How do we find our way in the world and compete? The question remains the same. The answers change as the situation changes.